Hey everyone, Adam with Troy Media here, and today we're going over 3 simple ways that you can make your motion graphics more cinematic. So the first thing you want to do, pop on over to After Effects and open the project that you have in mind or that you want to practice this on. If you don't have one in mind or you don't have anything to practice it on, don't worry, I got you fam. This project will be available to download down below somewhere. Download it, use it, modify it if you want to, I don't really care. We're here to learn. So if you don't have After Effects with or a computer with After Effects on it, go ahead, check out your local library. They probably have one that you can use. All that being said, we're going to hop on in. And lucky for you, I have got all of the ways that we're going to be talking about written out here for us right this moment. So this is just the comp up here. There's this fun pink solid that I've got, and I went ahead and put some text out here. Now, I'm going to select all these layers here. These are all the text layers. I'm going to hit U, which is going to bring up all of the modifications that I've done on this where there are keyframes. Keyboard shortcut tip, if you hit UU, you can see all of the things that you've ever modified in those layers, but we're going to hit U once. It's going to bring up these keyframes. Now you can see here at about a half second in, and this is 12 frames in, a half second, I'm filming or I'm editing in a 24 frames a second project. At a half second in, these things are going to start to come in. They're all going to land at 1.5 seconds in. That's where they're going to stop. They're going to be on screen for around 9 seconds, and then they're going to move off the other way. Pretty simple. I'm going to play through this, and we can see, yeah, not too bad. And it's just really dragging on for anyone else. Let's go ahead and shorten this up. I'm going to move these keyframes over. Don't mind me. And we can just make this project a little shorter. How about that? Anyone okay with that? Didn't think so. Back to our regularly scheduled program. So this comes in, let it render, there we go, pops in, and it's on screen for, I don't know, 5.5 seconds, 6.5 seconds, something like that. All right, back to it. So I'm going to play through here. You can see these things all come on. Great. Nothing to be all that excited about. But that's what we're here for. We're going to go through 3 different tips that you can use to make your motion graphics projects a little more cinematic. And honestly, these are just a bit more modern. Now, the first one, and it's actually not listed on here, but the first one is to stagger your keyframe. So if you've got something like this, and I did this on purpose, all of these are on a different line, so I could animate them individually. Otherwise, I just would have made this one big paragraph. Is if you're going to do something like this, let's stagger these keyframes, and that way it's going to come in at different times, and it's going to give us just a little bit more of a visual interest. It's not the most cinematic thing, but this is one of the things that I really like to do in my projects. Now I'm going to move this over a little bit so we have the same amount of lead time coming in and coming out here. And let's go ahead and render that. It's rendered. Let's play through. Now you can see all of those things come in. It's a little bit more visually appealing. Motion comes in, then blur comes in, then easy, then ease, then weighted keyframes. Great. And then they're going to leave much that same way. Now, that wasn't on my list, so consider that a freebie. But we are going to get into the 3 actual ways right now. Number 1, motion blur. Now this is super, super easy. And the easiest way to do that, you want to go here, see this little triple ball thing? If you mouse over that, you're going to see it says enables motion blur for all layers with the motion blur switch set. If I click that, nothing looks different. Well, you're going to see there's a corresponding switch here, and we want to make sure that we click that for everything that we want to have motion blur associated with it. So what's going to happen is we're going to let this render, and you can see even here in the rendering, it's going to give us a little bit of this motion blur. So it's going to fake that motion blur that we're so used to when we're watching films and videos. Now this is the number 1 way I think that you can get better or more cinematic looking motion graphics. Turn that on. Number 1, motion blur. Done. Now easy ease. This should be one that every single person here is familiar with. What this is going to give us it's going to ease in and out of all of the movements that we have told these layers to do. And what that means is when we look at a single layer here, it starts here off screen, It moves on at the same pace, and it sits there on screen. It moves at the exact same speed. This whole thing is the exact same speed. Now what we want to do, we're going to easy ease that. So we select the keyframes that we want to easy ease, and I'm going to go ahead and just select all of them here. And we want to right click on one of the keyframes. And down here under Keyframe Assistant, you want to find Easy Ease. Now you'll also notice the hotkey or keystroke to do this is F9. On my Mac keyboard, it's a real pain in my butt, so I'm just going to do this, Easy Ease. Now you can see this has immediately changed these to this little hourglass sort of a thing. Now what this is going to do is it's going to start off slow, get really fast, and then ease into this position. So it's going to ease out and ease in. Now let's go ahead and render this out and watch it. And it's going to give us a little bit smoother of an intro when it comes to this motion. And this is going to mimic real life a little bit more. It's going to, nothing goes at constant speeds, rarely. When a car takes off, it's going to start slow, pick up speed, and then it's going to slow down. We want our motion graphics to be just like that car. Or in my case, a Prius, which is kind of just a big golf cart. So that was number 2. Easy ease. Use that. Use it all the time. It's great. It's one of my favorite techniques when it comes to creating motion graphics. Now, the third one, and this is a little more difficult, but it's a fun one. It's really nice. We're going to add weighted keyframes. And I'm going to hide these for just a moment. And what I want to do is I'm going to select position or any of these things that I've got keyframes on. So any line I've got keyframes on, I'm going to select it. Now what we're going to do is we are going to go in and add some weight to the motion of these keyframes. We do that, we're going to select this little graph here. If you look, it says Graph Editor. Click that. Now we're going to see these 2 little humps, much like in the Black Eyed Peas song. And this is showing us distance and speed. So this is a speed graph. You can change this graph to show different things. But what we want to do is make sure that, so this is, again, it's starting off slow. It gets faster here in the middle, and then it slows way back down. What we want to do, though, is we want to manipulate this. And if you click on these little nodes here, these keyframes can be manipulated with these in particular. So if you've ever done any vector work in Illustrator, you'll know that that's what these are. So we're going to click this one here, and we're going to select this little yellow one. And I'm going to hold Shift on my keyboard, and I'm going to drag this over. And you're going to see it's going to make this kind of weird, kind of leptokurtic, for those of you involved in stats, this leptokurtic kind of humpy thing, and it's different than the one that was over here. Now what this is going to do is it's going to start off real fast and then ease in real slow. So you can see this motion one, different than the rest, comes in real fast and then eases in. But what that does is it's going to give us a much more smooth motion coming into this, and it's going to provide just a little bit more visual interest in our graphics. Now, for going out, what I like to do is have it start off slow. So we want this to look reverse of what this graph is here. So we're going to select this node, and this is our exit, our 2 kind of exit keyframes here. And we're going to hold Shift again and drag that over as far as it'll go. And it's going to go out a little slower. It's going to start slow and then go out a little bit different. So you can see the rest of these are whipping off while motion is just getting up to speed. And you can see right there at the end, it really zips off. And go click out of this, back to this. And you can see here in the main editor, in our main timeline, these don't change at all, which is fine. We don't mind. I'm going to go ahead and select the rest of these. And I'm going to show you, you can do this to a whole bunch of stuff all at once. So I'm going to select all of these keyframes, go into that graph editor. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and select all of these. I'm going to hold Shift and I'm going to drag one of them over. And you can see I've got all 5 of those over there. And I'm going to do this to the end. I'm going to move those over. And now we've got this nice little thing that comes in. Motion blur, easy ease, weighted keyframes coming in with all of those on there. So there you have it, folks. 3 ways to make your motion graphics projects more cinematic. If you have questions about this tutorial or any of these effects, please leave those in the comments section below. If you want more tutorials and content just like this, be sure to subscribe. Follow us all over the internet. All your favorite social medias, we are at Droy Media. Thanks for taking the time to watch this tutorial, and I will see you all next time.